right. Well, here we are, a video version of the Vinyl Guide podcast here in Melbourne. Was it Shitty Old Studios? What's it called? What's it? Stupid Studios. Okay.
We're all getting it wrong.
Oh, my God. Yes. Here in Adelaide, we are no. So with the guys from Umlaut, we got Bear McKinnon here. We've got Sean, we've got Angus, and Danny.
I'm going to have to correct you already, man.
Shane. God damn it. Okay.
That's going to be his new
I'm out of here.
That's his new nickname now.
Shane?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. All right, and the new album, Desolë. Did I pronounce that right?
Sure.
Desolë?
Desolë,
Okay.
yeah,
When's
yeah.
that coming out? What's the date?
Is it the 25th of July or the 21st? It's one
I think
of
it's
those
the
two.
21st.
Yeah.
Okay. But you got some songs kind of leaking out already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like a leaky boat falling out.
Like a soggy boat. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's start with the album title, Desolë.
Desolé, yeah.
Desolë. Desolë.
Yeah.
Okay, what does it mean?
That's we would like to know actually.
Okay.
It's French for sorry, I think, and I think there's some really pathetic or sad core or pathos kind of overtones to it. I heard from somebody that speaks the language, but yeah, it's just French for désolé. I don't know. I think it's track number 10 or. The track it's the former name of what was going to be sort of the last track on the album, which is now called STFU, I think. Is that right?
No, the last track is My Government.
Oh, God. Not
Something or another.
We can't discuss that again.
No.
Right. Well, so okay, the last, intentionally.
Intentional track.
Yeah, the last intentional track. And anyway, so Angus sort of decided it could be a good album title,
Okay.
and I was like, all right. So
What Angus says goes.
Well, yeah, and then it just kind of seemed like.
Did you know you have that sort of power?
I did, yeah, since I was very young. Since I
Okay.
was a 2-year-old
Right.
boy, I've modeled myself on some of the great dictators of our time. No, not really.
I grew up near a nuclear power plant.
Yeah.
I found I had the power to levitate things. No. So you picked the title. You didn't know it was going to be the title when you picked it out.
No. What was the song title?
It was sort of a toss up between like Grumpy Library and then and Desolé.
Because
I
the
guess.
artwork kind of hints at Grumpy Library. But
Yeah.
Desolé
We
throws
blew
the
it.
curveball
We blew it, ladies and
well.
gentlemen. Which camera do I look into when we really need
Either
to?
way, yeah. The green one then.
Oh, that's right.
Well, the song that's now STFU has a lot of. It's kind of a song about saying sorry. So
Okay.
Right.
that kind of makes sense.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Is there a bit of a theme to the record? Is there something that kind of ties the songs
Pathetic?
together? Pathetic.
sad sack,
Sadness.
heartbreak?
Summertime.
Well, it
fun.
seems like there's probably a theme of heartbreak to a lot of the songs. Well,
Where'd that come from?
where does heartbreak come from? No,
Why
well,
did
it's
you move in that direction?
I guess it was just there wasn't really these were just some of the a collection of kind of songs that were sort of like
Mm-hmm.
4-piece band kind of rock or pop song kind of things or ballads. I guess STFU is sort of a ballad that was just I guess I was wanting to write some songs that were in earnest or that were sort of real, instead of being like about huskies and yellow snow and not eating yellow snow. Yes, this is the 50th time
Frank Zappa
I keep
He knows we're big fans. He just can't help but like.
I'm baiting these guys to see them defend. No, and so it was trying to go the other direction of I don't know. Maybe I was just sort of really serious in the last 6 or 7 years, and I was just like. That's not really true, but I think it just came out, and then
It's funny though, because some of it's heartbroken, and then the chorus might be really humorous. It's. I mean, I didn't write the lyrics, so I probably shouldn't be saying anything. But
But no, there's definitely
I
some,
worked
some
on a
humor
lot of
in there.
the
like,
songs.
for
Actually,
certain, yeah.
we had Danny wrote some of the lyrics. I don't know if
That's
anyone
right.
even remembers that.
I didn't get a sense of sadness at all when I heard the music.
Yeah, no, and again, it's
Is
just
heartbreak
like
funny to you? Or
I guess so. Yeah. I really like seeing you guys in pain.
there's no really. I guess look the truth is that it's kind of cringy, and it's for me like the idea that I'm sort of putting out there some kind of like very personal stuff,
Right.
Without too many kind of like gritty details, but
Should have done something else for a living.
you asked the question.
Yeah.
you asked the question like why this, and honestly, I think going forward with the music that we're going to be doing, you know, going forward. God, I hate that phrase. But it's sort of like I got it out of my system, some bad breakup kind of stuff, relationship stuff, and I just was just like, yeah, you know, and it was kind of what was on the top of mind. And as I'm driving to and from work, I'm in the car, sort of like belting out these like lines or phrases, and then trying to find a good like kind of melodic kind of hook to it.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Please. Yeah.
That's
No,
one
just-
question.
Yes, you've got the conch.
You asked, that's the one question.
No, I'm curious with that.
Oh, two questions.
Well, no, with that, did you use voice memos? Like, are you good at remembering that kind of, like if you came up with something driving around, are you one of those wonderful people that can actually go home and remember it and then put it down?
A little bit, yeah. No, because sometimes I'm sort of I'm cycling it through. So it's like I'll be driving and I'll just be like, I'll be just like kind of just trying to phrase out, you know, like so like the Tarnished Legacy was one of those where it was just like the main line that keeps getting repeated over and over again was something that, because I was in the car like driving for, you know, 45 or whatever minutes, and then just like, you know, and then I was like, oh, that's something, and then I was like, how do I build kind of the chords and whatever else underneath it. And
Meanwhile,
so-
everyone's driving alongside you, like, look at this guy.
but you know, yeah, no, it
Gotta
is-
get a merge or what?
Hang on, I'm working on the pre-chorus.
because the thing is that it is extremely embarrassing and cringy for me to like I had this moment when we first had Danny in the room playing drums with us. It was just like, and we're doing probably Desolë or what became STFU, and I was like, oh my God, it sounds really good, but this is so insanely embarrassing for me to be doing this, like pretending like anyway. And that's just me being honest, which I you know.
I'm glad you are.
And so it's just like, and that's part of what the themes, if they're like about heartbreak or whatever, seemingly a few of them. So it's
One thing I can add is like Bear had these songs for quite some time, and he had such an attachment to them that it actually took a lot of coaxing to get him to actually let us record them. Like because your demos, like great demos.
Oh right, yeah.
And yeah, I understand that. Like these songs were
Yeah, I mean,
personal.
and even
it wasn't the usual stuff we were doing either. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
all the instrumental kind of things. It was kind of a bit of a step, I guess, to like come straight into this. I always hit the mic, but come straight into this kind of stuff. So
You know, I see what you mean. I guess like, and when I mentioned how like Angus was kind of like, yeah, I reckon Desolë would be a good, because like this in recent years, like this, a lot of the band has been me trying to kind of relinquish some control, or this hyper kind of like, you know, because I'm a maniacal kind of like control freak with these things. I'm like, no, it goes a certain way, play it like this, and and then I realized I don't pay them any money. I'm like, oh, I can't yell at them. What am I doing?
Well, I've been taking five.
I didn't stop you.
I've been taking fivers out of your wallet this whole time. You never noticed.
Angus is like, it's all on the spreadsheet. Yeah.
So out of the songs, there's like 10 songs on the record,
I guess.
somewhere around there. Are most of those, do they germinate with you? Are you kick them off, or does everyone kind of have their own songs on the record?
No.
Okay.
Yes and no. No, I don't know. I mean, I guess they originally, a lot of the stuff originally was the main songs on the album came from me or whatever. We're sort of, I think so, but Angus and
sections are like maybe a few sections have been come up with by other people. I don't know why I'm having such trouble speaking. I think I'm having a stroke. You know, like there's a chorus that Shane came up with the main bulk of the chords for.
Right.
I had a riff that I came up with at the end of Cupboard, but it's mostly Bear. But
That's
I guess
right,
we
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
talk through the arrangements and chop off a little couple of beats here and there.
So in this set of songs, they definitely started from like a thing like where I'm like, oh, here's a song, and then I get together with these guys, and then like I'm trying to you know do that more, where I'm just like kind of like. And Danny has definite ideas on how to do a thing, so he's not just going to hear the way I played a thing on a demo and then go, okay, I'll just play that, you know.
Right.
Well,
And so,
but sometimes that's what you got to do.
yeah. So, but he's been really great, and as far as like coming up with really, because it's kind of like that Peter Jackson thing with the Beatles, that 3 hour or whatever thing, where it was just like, you know, people are making they're sort of like working together and making suggestions on the fly. And instead of me just putting my foot down and going like, no, this has to be whatever. I'm trying to kind of like chill out a little bit more with that kind of
is
thing.
that
And
new
I
for
think
you?
going forward, we're going to be doing that more. And certainly the very last track of the album was a thing that was spontaneously created
Right.
in a rehearsal, practice room or whatever. So.
Right. So we'll get to what's next, but on this particular record, you and Danny have worked together years ago.
Right.
Is it different now working together than it was some 25 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Logistically, just because we're actually playing together
Danny had
in recording. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, because we wouldn't have done that. I'm assuming you're referring to Bungle. Although
Yeah, you
he did
were
play
talking
with
about this
Desolë.
the other day. Yeah, like that. Yeah, go ahead. You were saying about like how that was kind of one of these questions that came up where it's just like, how is this different? And it's like, well, it's very different insofar as like we're actually workshopping things together,
Right.
and then with Shane and Angus, and then
Well,
back in the
we
day,
always rehearsed together. Well,
Yeah.
not always, but for a
Yeah.
lot of it. But for this, the actual recording,
So
that was probably one of the first times really
Yeah.
that I'd actually been. It didn't really seem like it
In the
somehow.
basic
But actually
tracking.
being
Yeah.
actually tracking that we were actually recording
so
together.
you're
because
more
it just didn't
open
happen a
to
lot.
other ideas now.
I'm trying. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm definitely, I'm trying to be, and certainly, and that's kind of what I'm like. It's sort of, I know it took way too long, but I'm sort of realizing like, people having that input in there.
I don't think you've been as uptight as you think you have.
Maybe. I guess it's, yeah.
Bear's always written the notes, but sometimes what instruments play those notes can be up for grabs a little bit.
Right.
And on previous albums too.
Yeah.
But then like this one, I guess, that wasn't so much of a band sitting around talking about it. you
Right.
know. This time it was that much more, like 4 people all being like throwing some things in the ring.
I think the track Vinny is a good example of that, where Bear's initial demo, what the band actually did to that track is totally different. Like,
Right.
yeah, like completely different. So there are moments
Willfully
on the album-
disregarded what he had.
kind of, yeah. But it was on his instruction that he heard us do this crazy kind of off the wall
the
jam
verse.
kind
That's
of
right,
thing,
the
yeah.
verse,
And then
yeah.
he liked it so much
Forgot
that we put it in the song. You know what I mean? So the band definitely has its place in the music, but
Yeah.
Bear's mainly the writer of all of it. So
Yeah, that was actually that track in particular. I forgot how that was put together because it was just one of those sort of bad boogie woogie blues jams we were having in the rehearsal, because there were riffs that were very much set, but then a whole section was created from just
randomness,
being morons and
Yeah. But to kind of answer like Danny's, or what Danny was sort of touching on with the, like, because Danny and I were sort of talking about this a few days ago, where it was like with Bungle, it was more like the times that we were actually playing together was the few rehearsals we did right before a tour and then on the tour. It's like, it wasn't so much like, hey guys, let's all go and like workshop this thing together. It's like, no, these things were kind of pieced together. And then Danny would have recorded like the basic tracks with, Trevor and Trey, with Patton doing like a guide vocal kind of thing. And that's, and I was like, that's right. I might've been at the studio that day, but they're like, they didn't need, because there might not have been a horn part thing or
It just
keyboards.
It wasn't practical. It was sort of pointless to do.
Yeah, and then it's just like we don't need to be distracted by Bear like stuffing up.
It was actually just, it wasn't the horn or the saxophone blaring into everybody else's mics. It was you. It was you.
But you came up with like, correct me if I'm wrong, Air Conditioned Nightmare.
Yeah,
That's from you.
Yeah, yeah. It was sort of like I think my parts sort of bookended it, and then
no, the other way.
or the other way around.
Other way, you're past
You were the
middle,
books.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he's the meat in the sandwich.
I'm the pages of the book, and Patton's stuff was the binder or the cover and the back cover.
All right. But in your parts of that particular song, again, we're going back 30
Yeah.
years or something like that, you were very clear, deliberate of what you wanted, how you wanted that to be. And maybe
not so much. It was actually like Patton was like, he'd heard, like I'd sent like my my little ideas on a cassette or something over to him, and then he found stuff that he thought, he's like, oh, this actually works kind of good in something that he was doing. So he kind of took it out of context in a way, and then just like inserted it into his what he was trying to do, and then his stuff is the bookends of the thing. So it's like, so again, it was like, and then there was a similar thing happened with Goodbye Sober Day, where it was like, oh, something that Bear had done like fits really good in the middle of this thing. And by the way, it's the best bit. No,
Which part of that song? I don't actually know.
Clink, ding, clink, So the uninteresting,
Of course.
not the
The
K-check,
melody is-
not the K.
It's
It's
very
the uninteresting. It's the white
Yeah.
dude stuff in it, not the K-check, not the cool,
white dude.
not the cool like
Latin.
multicultural.
It's a cha-cha. I
No,
guess.
Angus, chuck, chukka, chukka.
All right, yeah.
Anyway, all the interesting stuff wasn't mine, but it was like the middle stuff was maybe
Right.
and then with a few like things. But so like that was really interesting to have Danny tell me all these years later, and I was kind of going, oh shit, yeah, we didn't really play together that much, and it's like which is.
Well, we played together a lot, but not record. It's really
Right.
just the recording.
Not
we did.
Or the compositions definitely the leading up and the composition of it and then the actual recording of it it's just very kind of like it's all like sort of siloed out and whatever and then I'd sort of be like, hey guys, and they'd come walking out of the studio like, hey, you guys doing some recording today? And they're like, yeah, we gotta run.
Yeah, there's a bus to Crescent City in 20 minutes. You don't want to miss it.
Everyone run. Ringo's got one.
Yeah. No, so, and that was kind of an interesting kind of thing to remember. I was going, oh, that's right. And so when things are firing all cylinders on a tour, I'm just like, and I can look back at these things on YouTube and go, damn, that was like, we were really like really starting to get somewhere, and then the thing kind of fizzles out. But there was some amazing moments, and so getting to play with Danny again is just like I have to pinch myself because I'm just like this fucking sorry. Can we curse?
Of course,
on this? Yeah, it's just like this groove and this guy and the pocket because some other drummers we played with in the past maybe didn't have such a great
Wore
sense of
pants
time.
without pockets.
Yeah.
And so,
Here's
like,
my bar ends, here's my fill ends. Like,
So the three of you you've been in Melbourne now for 25 something years?
yeah, too long.
Okay,
yeah.
too long. You were born and raised here, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
through and through. North Side.
Yeah.
I was
Melbourne,
Brunswick Street as a small child in the music scene because my dad was a musician.
Okay.
He was
like a
born
big-
in
yeah,
Brunswick.
big
I was
part of
born on stage at the Night Cat. Actually, it would have been the Bull Ring. Yeah, no, I wasn't born on stage at the Bull Ring, but
And they put a little shaker in his hands.
yeah.
My mom had an episiotomy at Shot Kickers. And Shane,
One of the newest venues in town. Very young.
you were raised in Melbourne as well? Okay. So you recently moved up here 2 years ago from
It's actually 4 years.
4 years
Yeah,
ago?
what the fuck,
From
Danny?
Believe it or not.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you know when you were moving to Melbourne that part of that was going to be
Oh
playing?
yeah, no, that was one of the very few kind of bright parts of it because it was a
Okay.
pretty weird. Yeah, it was not. I won't get into it. But yeah, it wasn't fully
Right.
like, hey, all right, we're moving to Melbourne. It was kind of not the opposite of that, but yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, it was okay. Well, at least I got Bear there. There's like one. I mean, it turns out I knew a lot of people here,
Yeah.
but I did know at some point that I was going to be sitting here with you guys. It kind of felt like, well, if I'm there, I mean, that was sort of the reason why we never really played together. Although we did shows like sometimes if my bands would come here, you filled in with
Yeah.
at least two of them. Well, one of
Yeah.
them anyway.
Tango Saloon.
So is it safe to say that the Umlaut album that we have, this is a start of something?
yeah, like a revolution in music. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, it kind of is. This, I mean, it's sort of like the, I mean, well, we hope so. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. Yeah, it's like, got a lot of music to do yet, hopefully. And so it's, and, yeah, I guess that's the.
Should we go around the room and make sure?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like I don't know what you mean, like the start of something.
I mean, this is going to continue. This isn't.
yeah, we hope to. Yeah, we hope that
Oh,
it's
this
like.
is the lineup now. Is what you're asking?
Yes.
No, we're gonna get Keith Moon's corpse to come and
Well, I mean,
sing
because the band.
and that's it, and we're all leaving
Because the band is like had like this
Firing
revolving
Zach
door.
Starkey.
Has had this. The band has had kind of like this ever changing kind of lineup of players. Whether it's like, hey,
Right.
let's have a horn section. Hey, let's have a vibes
Yeah.
guy and stuff. And I feel like maybe we're in some ways we might want to like welcome some of that back on certain occasions. But also it was like some of the reason like some of these songs are just like they're like kind of very straight ahead rock songs or pop songs or whatever. And I was thinking I was on a sort of side note, and like some of the music on this album was kind of funny insofar as like I was it really kind of made me laugh to think that I'm getting kind of like these guys to play kind of more like pop songs or something. Certainly this guy over here a little bit. But yeah, I mean, sometimes we're like, we need another player to do a thing, but it's also like, there's something like really great and about like having like a powerful kind of quartet, and then like, and I kind of, I'm always forcing Angus rather to sort of like have another keyboard growing out of his, like not just be playing guitar the whole time. Like sometimes he has a lot of keyboard duties, but never flute duties.
I'm waiting.
No, maybe we'll let him play a little flute.
Well, and it's like you fit on more stages, and like you feel like there'd be more lines for a stage plot, but there aren't that many. It's like, I mean, my other band has like got the stage plot from hell, so I'm kind of always surprised when it's like, oh, this is not that bad. Like, just need a couple of DIs and we're good to go.
Yeah, it's more.
There's like
it's more of a
in.
Yeah, I mean, my Sex on Toast has gone up to 13 before.
Okay.
What's that? Let's not speak of those days. But yeah, and we used to go on tour with no sound engineer and just meet this house guy and be like, hey, here's our stage plot. And they just always look at us like, fuck. But yeah, like I think it was kind of like that with Umlaut back in like 2011. We had a bit of a nightmare of a setup. And we even... I mean, I don't know how, but we even toured once with that. We went to Sydney with
Ruins.
With Ruins
alone,
with the vibraphone guy, and they hired us a vibraphone. But I can't imagine the stress of that on a regular basis, unless you've got a big budget.
Yeah,
So.
and I always wondered, like, could they even hear the vibes out the front? Like, just with these amps on stage, everyone's like playing full volume rock band, and then there's these intricate vibe parts. It's like,
well, they cut through. They kind of cut through that, but yeah, sometimes no.
So I think we might, on certain occasions, bring in some more people, maybe another horn player or something. But it is more movable and a lot, and as well with the type of songs that are on this album, it's kind of suits itself or lends itself towards more of a quartet kind of thing, than like just like a basic rock kind of band sort of thing.
They're all really busy the whole time when we play these songs live. Like all three of them are pretty much.
Yeah,
going between not every song. Well, you're like got 5 instruments and singing.
Yeah, and so it's
because both of these guys play keys and bass and or guitar. So there's a lot of and you have, I guess there are samples you have to be aware of. That.
Yeah, I mean that's just on
notes.
That's just a keyboard patch, a part of my like main stage setup.
Yeah.
Sometimes you play keyboard now too.
Yeah, we're trying to get Danny
on one song. Yeah,
two now.
But I want to. I mean, I kind of do feel like I kind of need to step it up.
Little
these
trumpet.
guys are all doubling up on stuff. So.
But it is, and it's, which is funny in some ways, like, because I'm always trying to get, even Shane to kind of like, well, he's going back and forth between like a Moog and the bass, but it's like, we're definitely trying to get Danny like, hey, we're like, Danny might just be sitting there for a quiet section of a song. You could probably do some keyboard stuff for it and whatever. But also like I'm always wanting to do some kind of rock star flailing around, and I just never get a chance because it's like I've got this saxophone strapped around me.
He still does pretty well.
Got a flute and then thing, and I try to, and then this double stacked keyboard thing in front of me. It's almost. Yeah, and so
it's hard to do the David Lee Roth kicks with an
or the
I remember back in the day with Umlaut, I would just be standing there with like a bunch of tacit, and then I'd play like a little dinky guitar part and then just be silent. I remember my dad, who's a musician, he came to see us once and he's like, you don't play anything. I'm like, well, I do, but it's like it's orchestrated and we had lots of members to cover all the parts. Now it's like I'm trying to do the the last note of the guitar part and then quickly do a chord on the organ and then change to the sample and then do a back.
I honestly sort of think I enjoy that more though. Like the more the challenge the band presents, like the more interested me personally I am in it. You know what I mean?
I enjoy it when I do it well. If I screw it up, it's miserable. I feel like it's like a kid trying to do aerobics and breaking his leg, which I kind of did when I was a kid. Actually, it was my arm. I did break my arm on an aerobics. Well, it was called Tri-Skills. It was in Australian primary schools. I broke my arm on a mat, on a Tri-Skills mat. And that's, if I don't do the
Lawsuit pending.
If I don't, I'm going to sue them like way too late, like way past the statute of limitations. But I feel exactly like myself as a child breaking a bone when I mess up my changes between pedals and
Deep
keyboard
internal
sounds.
trauma.
Yeah,
I actually was late.
me back to that
This
day.
reminds me of the couple days ago that it was this Tom Osmond. It was on Monday actually. I was supposed to have done like another Zoom interview after this other one, and then I got a message from the PR guy going like, "Hey, did you forget about the other thing?" And it was because we'd done a group kind of interview, and it was so much fun. We're laughing so much and whatever that I was just like, "Oh, that was great." And I walk out, and then I'm like, I look back at my phone 45 minutes later. Anyway, so I missed this poor guy is sitting there waiting on a Zoom thing for 45 minutes.
Okay.
And then I open up Zoom and I'm like, hello? And then he's there and he's like, it's okay. I didn't think Bear McKinnon was big timing me. I'm like, no, I'm a has timing you because anyway. That was the thing. So Angus having this thing, it was like I said to Ada, my partner, I said this felt like having a fender bender or something with somebody in traffic that you're not going to be able to get away from, but you have a fender bender with them, and then you just leave or something, or you're just there. You're kind of like they get a good look at you, they read your number plate, and you just drive off. And I had this sick feeling in my body. I was like, oh, that feels. I was like, we've had that before with somebody waiting. Anyway, so sorry. Next question.
I'm not sure where we are.
My middle name is Tangent.
So what I'm hearing is more live shows coming up.
Hopefully, yeah. We're still we had some problems back in October, and we're just like I said earlier, we're just literally played again for the first time.
What happened in October?
I can't talk about
I
it.
lost my wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my body, and then parts of my body broke, and I had to get surgery. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Not quite in that order. Not without the wallet. I was incapacitated the day before. Literally got a call from a doctor saying you need to go into a hospital tonight. Which I've never been to a hospital before in my life.
Okay.
And
Really?
yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, and that's why it's like everything that happens. Like
Practically lived
You
at
were
the
born at
hospital.
Shockers too.
I was.
If I
lucky.
want to go to sleep, I just pretend I'm sick.
But it was, I was incapacitated enough that it made it difficult to play for a couple months, and when it ended up being about 3 or 4 months. And in that time, I was sort of like, I kind of considered not quitting music, but quitting drumming, or at least live, because part of it was a physical thing I was worried about, which it didn't end up being. But I did, I kind of sort of not really quit the band, but I did kind of say, you guys are going to need to find somebody because,
Right.
I mean, this tour was like literally we were, I think, less than 24 hours from leaving.
Yeah.
Right.
And we refused to
8
play
shows.
without you. We refused to play any music.
It would have been like could
We
have
were
done
on
it
strike.
with that short of notice. But over the next
You
couple
guys know
months, I
about
was
drum
hoping
machines, right?
these guys, they know so many musicians, so many drummers. It's
Right.
like, Angus alone would know a few that, and I've seen, Sex on Toast play with these drummers that, and I said to me, oh God, that was amazing how tight he was. Oh really? Yeah, he hadn't played with us in 3 years or something. We didn't even rehearse. It's like, okay, get a guy like that.
Right.
That exact guy quit this band, so
But, that's what I
he's
thought.
off the table.
I did think that. Anyway, so that obviously held everything up for a while.
There's a lot of good drummers. There's not that many great drummers.
And we'll be back after these messages. Sorry.
So without getting too into the health thing, but you're okay now.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
I can play music. Yeah. It's
Okay.
good. Yeah. No, I feel all right.
Okay. So the conversation of you going
I can
abroad, playing
play
some gigs.
again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's good.
Yeah. So we will. And I guess I'm hoping we do. I hope we play, at least some Australian shows around.
Yeah.
And we should probably.
Yeah, yeah.
This weekend.
I mean,
Is it too late to book a show?
like we don't have anything scheduled just yet because we're still kind of getting back into it.
Right.
You going back to Sydney after this, Nate?
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, maybe we can get in your luggage and we can
You're more than welcome.
play down at the Botany View Hotel.
That's fine.
If
We
someone
came-
else is playing, we'll throw them off the stage.
Yeah,
because
much in the
we're in
tradition.
town.
Much in the tradition of the what is it? My government is never wrong.
Yeah.
Not this.
There was another song that was created that was like it
rained down from the
arose.
heavens?
It arose. It's kind of like
Yeah. It found
we
you.
say we have thoughts. No, thoughts have us. Anyway, I have a philosophy degree, by the way. No, I don't. So it was another song came up. There was, I think, Lawman, was it called?
Oh yeah, the Lawman was mentioned.
Yeah.
Came up. So it's a whole.
It was a play on Judas Priest breaking the law, but I feel obeying the law would be a better sentiment.
Right.
So we kind of
Bending the law.
obeying. No, don't
Obeying,
bend the law.
yeah.
We maybe
Conscientiously obeying the law.
that might be the whole new direction lyrically for the band. We don't know.
But it came up, and it was definitely a cousin or a sibling of, My Government's Never Wrong. And it was just like, and it's one of those things you have, your phone recording, and you're just like, this is amazing, and it's just, and Angus is the
narrator,
the lyricist, and the vocalist on these. So it's becoming a thing where I think it will probably continue. So
Do you have
probably have another name.
So
You?
Oh no. Bear is mostly. I do lead vocals on one song on this album, but it's mostly Bear. I mean, yeah, that would be odd if I was doing the lead vocals.
Yeah,
I would prefer. Yeah,
okay.
I definitely would prefer to hear those songs with Bear's voice because they're about his life.
Sort of. Yeah.
You don't want to jump into that.
I mean, I do backgrounds.
Right.
They sometimes come up on the album too. Like there's a little funny background figure that I do in Happy Now. Like the since I was a boy.
Since I was a boy, since I was young.
I do the dog crying sound in that as well.
Okay.
But yeah, like no, I don't really. But only on Cold Sore, I did do lead vocals on that.
Okay. Cold Sore.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is the same name as
that track from it's an unreleased. It was recorded during the Disco Volante days. And it just was never released. And I think it was leaked or something. A mix of it was leaked on YouTube or something, or the internet. And so we're sort of doing a cover of that, I guess, in a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
A new twist on it.
Reinterpretation, even.
Slightly different version.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that originally a Bear song? Cold Sore?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like 100%, right?
Yeah. And
you got George Harrison out of the process.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where it's not been ever like the Bungle version of it's never been like officially released or whatever, or polished, and so here we are at some advanced point in the future known as 2025, and we're just like, all right, and it wasn't my idea. Internet.
It's so great that I just really thought we should play it. And a real highlight for me, I got to say, is watching you sit at a keyboard trying to remember it. Because it's just sort of like, I already knew it. I mean, I grew up being a huge fan of Bungle. I'm not gonna lie. But I was just watching him
Aren't
sort
we
of,
all?
and I oh wow, there you go.
There we go. Yeah.
Same era too.
Yes.
Damn.
But I
what
just
came first, that or the shirt? It kind of matched.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
Damn, that's like
Wow.
spot. Wow.
Holy
shirt grew out of
cannoli.
But yeah, I knew the song really well. In fact, the first time I ever met Bear as like a 19-year-old was how I knew it existed on the internet.
Right.
Because I said, I've heard all the bootlegs and everything. He said, have you heard this? I'm like, what? No. And I went home and, got on
Mr. McKinnon.
It was you. I heard all of me. But I was just on file sharing and stuff. It was back in the days of, what is it? I don't know, Soulseek, or, it was no YouTube yet. But then I found it and I, thought it was awesome. But so, he was just kind of remembering it, all those little Baroque bits that it's kind of amazing how well you remembered it.
Yeah,
Like,
if I can add something in, it's like, because obviously I was a fan of Mr. Bungle too. It's like on the bends, and when that part comes in, which is Cold Sore, it's like by far the most memorable melody like in that section of music. It's like, even when I was a young kid listening to that record, it's like every time that bit came on, it's like, wow,
it's
like,
beautiful.
It's great. It's just like,
it's because I'm great.
as we found out after we met you, of course.
Sorry.
Did you guys play it though, live? Before, I mean,
had we?
Yeah.
I think
we had.
Drama we did.
right?
Yeah.
We did like maybe it was once maybe it was at the Toad or something, and right before the pandemic, or have we?
We did it for a few gigs,
Yeah.
but from like
but more
2019
recent.
to
Yeah, not like 2011.
No.
I hadn't thought that we were gonna like re-record it or record it and then have it on this album. So that was again, and that plays into this whole thing of like I'm kind of like I don't know, and I'm like trying to kind of like throw the wet blanket on it, but I can't find a wet blanket. And these guys are like, oh no, you can't find the wet blankets. We heated them all up.
Is the legacy of Bungle kind of does it trouble you at all? Is this something you want to get away from?
No, it's funny because it's weird. I think on some levels there's aspects of Mr. Bungle that I would just like, whether it was just like, okay, we're gonna do a 20-minute like feedback, and just punish the audience kind of thing, and I would sort of walk off stage. I would walk off stage because I'm like, what am I gonna do? It's already like when you've got a wall of white noise. Like, what can I even add to this? So I walk off the stage and just be like, how about we play the songs? That's how I would sort of feel. But I would never say it because I'm not an idiot. No. But no, yeah. So then,
that's what you could have added to it.
So there's certain things, and this.
Said, why don't we play this song?
And I apologize. Yeah, I apologize for like repeating myself. But I've taken swipes at things like Cobra, just only because I'm not really an improviser. I'm not like that brave, or I'm not thinking like I'm going to go out there and skronk and like make this saxophone sound as shitty as I can, and just to be artful or to be artistic. Or I mean, I am autistic on some levels, but no, it's like
the Bungle noise stuff was cooler than Cobra.
Yeah, and again,
more menacing.
So again,
it always seemed kind of menacing.
And I guess it was just like I couldn't, if you have come from the like John Zorn doing an alto kind of screechy solo during like Love Is a Fist or something, I'm sort of like, that guy's amazing, and the way he's able to control it to do those things, and I'm like, I'm just trying to make a saxophone sound nice. Right. And even to this day, and I don't know if I'm really succeeding. So I do, but anyway, I do try to get a little bit averse to things that are just like oh, that's Bungle, man, you're doing that Bungle stuff with the screechy or the skronky kind of saxophone shit. So I'm just like, oh, fuck that. I'm like, and I don't know why. I think it's more because I don't really believe in my ability as an improviser or something. So in some level, I want to do stuff that's like it could be like very controlled, very specific, and let's just go out there, hit the thing, and quit.
Right.
And then, but even having said that, I'm trying to kind of like relax and go, let things be what they're going to be, which is how things like My Government Is Never Wrong happens, or Lawman happens. These kind of things.
But I always think, and I think
got a name already.
And I think I've shared this with you before. I think the spirit of what I really like about Bungle, I hear in Umlaut.
Yeah, and I did too. When I was listening to Cold Sore, like literally today, I was like, oh wow, there's things in here, and I'm like, isn't that kind of funny that like the things that I would literally go like, oh, I can't really add anything to this, and now it's kind of like some of these spasmodic or whatever, just really improvised moments are kind of lend themselves towards that.
Like you talk about the noise, like the end of Grumpy Library literally is a noise freak out, like, you know what I mean? So you slow down. So you kind of like, you can't say that you're not into it because we did that weird kind of thing the band did, and then you just put the big
no, you're right. I can't say it because I'm a liar and I'm a hypocrite. No, you're right.
To be modest, though.
Well,
I see that.
Well,
that's what it feels
well,
like.
It's like one of the new tracks on the new album, Grumpy Library, kind of has it does, I guess, hark back a little bit to that kind of ethos of just like a real crazy break from what the song is into this just cavernous noise that kind of drains out the tune.
When those moments do happen, I kind of do have that tendency to kind of sit back and just like, wow, listen to what Angus is doing, listen to what Shane's doing with this thing at the end of Grumpy Library or something, or listen to what Danny's doing, or is Danny going to pull out his trumpet,
No.
as happens sometimes. So it's like, so for me, it's like, I kind of turn to more like a listener when these kind of things start, because like, again, it goes back to this
another
on some level, it's like, I'm like, I don't really know if I can do that stuff that well, or I just don't trust it. And then it's like these guys are doing something very interesting, and I'm kind of just like letting it wash over me,
right?
Instead of going like, no, cut it, you guys. Like, I don't want to like waste rehearsal time, like us kind of like having a wank on our instruments or whatever, So it's like, but again, I'm a walking contradiction. So as soon as I say the statement like, I don't know if I really want to do it, and then I'll walk into a rehearsal and I'll go like, hey, we should just like, all the music we do today should be like the next, insofar as it's just like, let's just not say a thing, any word, and just kind of let something kind of like arise out of whatever's going, and like somebody will start playing a riff, and then the other person will kind of lock in, and then a thing will happen. So I think that's another world that Umlaut can kind of explore more, because like again, these songs are so kind of like, yeah, this is just a tight little like heartbreak rock song, and then it's over or whatever, and it's just like there's a whole other world that's just waiting to sort of happen with it. And I think it's just like, I think it's going to happen more and more as we go.
How long have you been working on these songs?
Too long? No, I don't know. A while.
Do you mean the proper album or
The album. The gestation period.
Because Danny you came, was it 22? We started doing the basic tracks for it with Idge. Was that 2022?
Yeah, July, August.
So it was about a year and a half maybe of just like.
One song was done at the start of 2021.
Yeah.
Just so we had a single.
There was a single. What was that?
The first one from the whole album?
Bite Your Tongue.
Was it?
Bite Your Tongue was the first
Okay,
one. Yeah. But
That was released out on Bandcamp.
Well, it was on streaming too.
Yeah,
but that was probably like,
That was the We Still Exist song. Like, we're here. Still.
And by the way, that like What's in the Cupboard at the top, that hook was, I think, or that was the gestation of that, or maybe the kernel or whatever, the seed of it.
Wouldn't happen without me.
Was it Rose? Was that when you guys were standing?
I didn't know this. I didn't know this until the song was done. But
Danny was staying in an Airbnb place, and there was all these cupboards and these high things, and I was with my long white socks, and I was like mucking around trying to look in these cupboards.
You were helping me.
Yeah, I was trying to help you use Audacity that day.
Yeah, like some software, because my Pro Tools, whatever.
And because it's a rental and like you shouldn't be standing on people. Anyway, Danny was like looking at me, like, get down from there. I was like, what's in the cupboard at the top, kind of thing. And that's kind of where that thing came from.
Right.
For all the people that are like taking notes,
I knew
like,
it would be a good hook.
and all the people that are leading into the looking in the wiki.
That used to have a different chorus, but then we would just talk.
And by the way,
got fixated on that phrase.
By the way, Angus wrote the chorus like, what's in the he's like, that came from Angus. Like the whole chorus used to be a whole different melody, and Angus came in and wrote the hook of that song.
You probably just said, it wasn't even writing. My guess with you is you probably just came on, what's in the cupboard at the top.
Yeah, he just said it. He literally just said it, and we were like, and then
it
it just sort of, we're like, oh, that's, and you kind of
Someone
realize.
filmed him being silly and trolling Danny. Well, Ada filmed it, and I couldn't stop watching the video.
And Angus is like petting a dog. It looks like this weird, like, at home with the Waltons, and then like the shenanigans happening in the house.
Dog.
Yeah.
Oh, but
The best part is that cupboard. Those cupboards were all empty, right?
Yeah, they were all empty.
Yeah.
So,
if you go on Instagram onto Bear's Instagram page, you can find the video that inspired that chorus. Like,
Yeah.
it's still
And
there.
then and the long socks figured into the lyric of the chorus of that song as well. Like, now you know why I bought the socks or something.
But that's what I'm saying, because like I said before about how it can be quite earnest and heartbroken, and then suddenly veer into humor.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect example of that.
One thing I can say is that, like, because the three of us have played together for so long, that we know each other pretty well when we get to the rehearsal room, and we've got this tendency to just go off on, usually led by Angus, onto these weird tangents. But a lot of the other musicians would never, they'd look at us weird and be like, no. Danny, when he got in the room, when we started going in that direction, he would go with us.
Right.
Which is why these things are probably starting to happen, because like Rama, all the other drummers would just be like, no, like
I will say, I think Rama did kind of hang a little bit with that. But after a while, he's like, all right, like, let's count the song in. But he did kind of...
But with Danny, we just, and then we're in it, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, like 20 minutes later, we have Lawman, you know what I mean? It's like, there it is, like.
Yeah.
We're really hyping up this Lawman. Just wait till you hear Lawman. It's going to
blow your mind.
Go straight to the top of the charts.
All right, so let me ask you a question about the appearance in Melbourne at the Bungle Show.
Oh, okay.
How did that come together?
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to rack my brain to figure. That's a good question.
It's like 2021, I think.
Yeah, Danny might know some of
What about
this.
the one that just happened
It does feel like it was so recent.
last year?
Yeah.
Was it
Yeah.
just last
Oh, yeah,
year?
it was just last
Oh, geez,
February.
okay.
Yeah.
Is that So
March, early
I'm not really sure exactly how it happened. I think it was
Well, we invited. We both really wanted to see the Raging Wrath tour, because and just like, I'll do anything to see that.
I'm going to sit out of this one.
No, I mean they booked the tour, and I remember kind of at the same day I heard about it, I saw a poster on Smith Street, like, motherfuckers. Because I figured like maybe they'd tell us about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did.
They knew you were living in Melbourne at the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I
they
think
probably didn't. They knew other than Australia, but
because my part of my brain wants to go. Oh yeah, they must. It was like they're coming through town and like, yeah, we know Danny and Barry are going to be there. Hey, you guys should da da da. And I honestly, I'm kind of racking my brain to think who might have spearheaded the thing or whatever. I think it was a thing that kind of just came together, and then it was like you sort of put this. I don't know if we suggested it to somebody or. Yeah, that's honestly, I'd have to go back and look at emails or messages or something because I'm not really exactly sure. I know that I was trying to keep it on the down low, certainly.
Well, yeah, neither of us I didn't know what was going to happen. I was hoping something would happen. I kind of wanted to just do a sideshow, not the tote, but something.
Yeah.
Shot kickers.
Would have been incredible.
Oh yeah.
No, but something, and just where we haven't played together in almost a quarter century. Let's just show up and just try to play the songs.
Yeah.
That's what I actually wanted to do. I don't think I ever suggested that to anybody, but maybe you and Trevor. Because I don't think they would have wanted to do that. I thought it would have been really fun, but.
Oh, so you were thinking like even having like a secret show.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also like not only not announced, but also not prepared for musically.
Right.
I thought that would have been the right thing to do, but I
And
never
then not show up to it.
but yeah, I guess on some
got
level,
everybody.
to try to answer the question, it's like I feel like everybody was kind of going like, oh wow, they're coming through, and then Danny and I are just kind of doing this like.
I mean, it was. I don't remember exactly how it worked out, but
And
it was
then-
a couple months before. Maybe one of them, probably Trevor.
Yeah,
said,
either
"Let's do
Trevor or
something."
Trey, maybe, because it was like because everybody was sort of that knew us and knows us. It was like would be like, "Are you gonna play?" Like they're just like, and we're just kind of like, we didn't really know, and we didn't have any. And then it'd be, I think, closer to the date. It was like, oh, we could do da da da, and then it was like, okay, and then maybe this. I think the welcome back.
But as it came close to it, they told us. I thought they were going to be here for a while, but they were here. The day before?
Yeah.
2 days before, but yeah, not really till the day before, and they left the next day. So we weren't going to have time to do anything. Like,
what did we do?
definitely
We might have played like that Celentano tune like 3 times, so
not.
like
Sound check, yeah.
in
It was just-
recent years anyway, it was that thing of like at sound check, and then of course that was just like, whoa, shit, and this is a big room,
Right.
Yeah, exactly how.
Did they want to do? I can't remember now what it was they wanted to do. I just realized like let's just do something. I knew we weren't going to get a chance to rehearse. I knew how Bungle sound checks went, and as it was, I think we ended up being exactly 12 minutes that we had to work out what we're going to play.
Right.
Yeah.
So even on the day, you guys were just kind of like, okay, here's what we're doing. Or did you guys know like days before, like, okay, we're going to do this.
We did know days.
We knew what song.
We knew days before that we were doing Celentano, but sorry about that thing at noise I keep making. But it
I
was
think
like
at one point there was talk of maybe doing My Ass Is on Fire, but I think
that's right.
I might have even poo-pooed that just because, as much as I thought I liked the idea of not rehearsing, to do it not at
do it cold.
not at Festival Hall, like let's just play that song. It's like I haven't played that shit in fucking forever, and yeah. So if that was an idea, I'm probably the one that poo-pooed it.
Yeah, and then the welcome back thing, but it was like, but the
Did that
actually
catch you
the,
by surprise?
the quote, it was a little bit of a kind of like, oh shit, and then
Well,
like,
welcome back. That just came up while we were on the stage, like while we were getting ready to play Celentano.
that's right. It was
Like, we
between
should do Welcome Back, Kotter.
sound check and then the thing that they were like, oh, and then we'll do the welcome back thing, but I think they'd already been sort of playing that one, but not Danny and I. And then the quote, the Carrie Stress thing was an idea that like I just came up. I was like, I have a feeling I can put this challenge to Trevor and he'll like be able to remember that opening gambit or whatever of it. And sure enough, like I sort of taught him the because that horn part was pretty easy to remember or whatever. But
Again with the memory,
then taught Trevor that. Like it was just kind of funny sitting backstage, like, oh yeah, we should do that thing too, and then we'll just stop,
Yeah.
And then which wasn't.
I think people went berserk at that point.
I remember
Such a
seeing a
tease.
video like of people getting excited hearing the opening strains of that, and then by the time we just go. Whatever, and then it's just like, and then you like, because you could hear people going, oh, and then we stop, and then you're like, no, they were so like, and it was just like,
So bad.
and to see it through somebody's phone that on YouTube later was just like heartbreaking. It was like, oh man, But
I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was just such the biggest case of blue balls. I was
going to say.
What did Trevor called it? Edging. I remember he was calling it edging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, but
And how was it for you?
Oh, look, it's kind of incredible.
Yeah.
Kind of a bucket list thing.
he's like, it wasn't Todd Rundgren.
Not so. Oh, well, that's funny because I had just played with Todd Rundgren. Like I just did a tour with him, I'm a huge fan of. But there's something a lot more like, what would you say? Like
You'd already done that?
I just done that. I went from playing with him to getting COVID. And the only reason I was up there is because I had COVID.
That's why you were there.
I had COVID and I was just sitting around my house.
That doesn't sound good.
Kind of obsessing.
I like these guys so much, and I had COVID. It's like, what else can I do?
He walks up and he's like,
Affected
"Hi,
the whole fucking band.
hi, guys," and we're like, "Oh, dude."
Well, I started to get obsessed with the fact that they were doing the Celentano cover because I knew there was no keyboard player, and I was like, "Fuck." That's the whole, like, that part is so important. And I was ranting to Bear with COVID on the phone. And
Remember all the keyboards?
I'm kind of email buddies with Trey. A few years ago, I was
Name dropper.
I was trying to record some orchestral strings for an album of mine, the latest Sex on Toast release. And I got to the point where I was trying to do like a fake orchestra part of the album. And I was really putting it off because I just didn't think that I'd be able to do it well. And so I'd been talking to Trey a little bit about, I guess, production stuff. And I just kind of said, look, I just want to know how you do it the way you do it because it always sounds so great. And I didn't hear anything for a while. And I was like, I'm never gonna find out. He did say, oh no, I'll let you know tomorrow. And then I waited for a while. I was like, fuck yeah, this isn't gonna happen. And then I gave him a nudge. I was like, just one last nudge just to see if maybe
Which tomorrow were you talking about?
Yeah. One last nudge to see if maybe he'd reply. And then I got this gigantic email with the whole
From Trey?
yeah, just with how he does it. So I got to work and tried to do it the way that he said to do it, and actually worked really well. And I, got to really thank him for that because it made my album a lot better. But then I was just sitting there with COVID, and I knew that there was this high keyboard part.
Hey, buddy.
And then I started learning the keyboard part in my dressing gown, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to send him a video of me playing the keyboard part in my dressing gown, riddled with COVID. And then he replied and said, well, we don't need the keyboard part, but the vocals...
But maybe the dressing gown.
The vocals could be beefed up a little bit, and you look good in a dressing gown, you cute little bitch. It's weird he said that. Anyway, but then we had a coffee, and I guess it was on the table. I wasn't really sure if I was going to do it till about 30 minutes before sound check because he had to okay it with the others. And then he said something like... Patton said, let the twat sing. So I guess you're on. So then I had to get to Festival Hall and sound check. And I'd learnt it. I was kind of sitting there learning it just in case. But I was pretty prepared to not do it. Actually, I rang my friend who I told I was maybe going to do it. Shout out to Gene Litzer. And I said, sorry, I'm not doing it. They're getting Kimbra to do it instead. And she totally believed me. I thought that was a pretty good troll. But yeah, so it was awesome. And I took a few liberties and I chucked a little vocal harmony on the last, I guess it's the pre-chorus.
You didn't tell me you did that. Why did you do that?
I don't know. I just wanted to fucking... I wanted to
He broke the law.
Well. There are no laws against singing a harmony a fourth below Mike Patton. So that was fun.
Yeah.
That one note? Or the whole thing?
But
with the first note.
The first note, yeah.
I don't like the rest of them. They were bad.
It's kind of funny though, but like I think we were getting ready to walk onto the stage, and the security people almost didn't let us on. I'm standing there with this
No one was helping us
Jason
either.
from Halloween kind of like jumpsuit on, boiler suit on, my hair just like poofed out because I've been anyway. And then this idiotic mask, and we're like, we're supposed to go on stage. It was just something kind of Spinal Tap-ish a little bit about it.
What the fuck? We gotta go on to. You're like, it's so funny that you're screaming at the guy.
Yeah, I mean,
it was really loud.
I probably wasn't doing us any favors. Like I might have.
No, it's good you did that because it was they were also yelling at us from the top of the ramp. Come on!
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck are they doing?
Bear did the ultimate Chad maneuver of just being like he's holding his sax. Says, what the fuck am I holding this for? Like, and just cowered in front of this security guard. I mean, I had to slip in my hotel key. I don't know why I was staying in a hotel that night. It's my hometown. But
I need to go on the stage. I'm a Hilton Honors member.
Yeah. He thought
it
I
was dark, so you couldn't really see
it too. He really that guy
cowboy hat.
That guy was in love with me. Yeah, I was wearing my.
You were in costume.
Well, I wanted to look like I don't know, just a kind of like a.
Legend.
I was gonna say like a used car salesman from the Deep South, something like that. I was also wearing a really bad Scarface shirt, and
like a car salesman from the Deep South.
Yeah, because it looks better when piss is running down your legs to be dressed like that, which it was.
I had socks all like shoved inside of my shoes.
But it was an absolute like.
I went for it.
It was such a rush to do that, and then of course like I'm used to back in the day being on stage with that band and being kind of at the back, kind of the way Trevor's like a little bit behind, You
were the front man,
and I was. Right at the front, like it was some
hair.
kind of like it was like some great thing was about to happen, which wasn't the case. Anyway, so it's just like it was just an insane kind of like rush, to play in front of an huge audience like that again.
And Danny made sure you ripped a solo, right? You made the form longer.
That's right. Yeah. They said like, how about because it was like a sax solo that's just very bit straight ahead in the original recording of it, and they're like, how about you go twice? And I'm like, what? Yeah. So that was also I was kind of shitting myself a little bit, but that's what the boiler suit's for. You can't really tell. You just anyway.
So how close did it come to actually being a side gig? It was just a conversation. It was just an idea that went out like a.
Oh, I don't think we had at least a dozen different ideas of what we're going to do. Some of them,
I get them telling them like play Travolta, come on, do it.
A little bit bitchy.
Yeah,
that we wouldn't have actually done, but we were kind of joking.
Yeah,
why don't we do our own fucking show?
That's right. Yeah, we were thinking of like
Mrs.
having.
Bungle.
We were thinking of doing like a live stream like show. From the Bungle, like the Facebook Bungle, like thing, like
these things that we
just
never
Danny and me on
would've
stage,
actually done.
kind of like taking requests from the audience. I don't know. It was fun to kind of like sort of,
right.
Yeah, but no.
But no, I think I think I mentioned that to Trevor, knowing that he'd say, "Well, I got to check with everybody else."
And would not.
I'm not going to even mention it to anybody else because nobody's going to want to do it.
It's a brilliant idea.
I mean, they probably would want to, but
logistically,
they wouldn't really actually do it.
How were you guys involved at all in the box set that came out? The Bungle box set?
Yeah, we were on the recordings.
I know that.
Not in the design of it. No.
Okay.
No.
I do remember getting an email about it. I don't even know how long it was before that. I thought there was time to come up with ideas, and it's like, I got tons of stuff in my storage in San Diego that'd be great to, incorporate into it. And then I don't know. I didn't really care that much about it. And thought there was time. And then suddenly it was like, it's due the next day. It's due tomorrow. And okay, shit. All right. I guess I didn't follow that up very well. So no, didn't have anything to do with it.
Now, last time we talked, there was mention of several covers. There was some 2-track tapes that were found of a session that was made with a lot of 2-inch tape. Yeah, 2-inch tape. Anything ever come with those?
I know where they are. I've got all the masters.
Well, there's, I recently.
I actually just read. I was going to kind of keep it a secret, but I'm playing around with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I'm hoping those guys will add to it.
Okay.
I haven't even actually listened to all of it, but there's 2 that I have listened to that I've played around with that I'm hoping those guys. I mean, I'm not going to do anything without their approval. It's
right.
All it's still a Bungle thing. what is it? Trey's not on it. I thought there was a guitar, but actually there's no guitar on it.
Okay.
So that sucks. So there's bass, drums, Mike singing an incredible scratch vocal track, which was always the case. And I would love it if he would just be okay with us using that.
Okay.
But, obviously going to run that by him. But
Okay. So that's an ongoing conversation.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to them
Okay.
about it, but this is, when they hear this will be the first they've heard of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then,
Surprise!
for a couple other things as well,
guys have gotta
I intermittently
communicate,
kind of
man.
like pop into the emails and go like, hey, what are we doing with this? And can we just like, because to my mind, I think the thinking is that like, it can't just be just like one track or something, like whether it's like an unreleased thing. That's not doesn't seem to be the vibe, what's going on. And there'd be a desire to sort of like pull things together, like bits and bobs and whatever, not just have it just, because I'm always just thinking like, hey, there's a couple of things that let's just let the world hear them, and not that people haven't heard them. Maybe they have on some level.
The
but
covers? I don't think anyone.
not the covers. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm speaking of a couple other
There's
things.
like a Jerry Reed song, I think.
Yeah.
There's a
I
few.
don't think the covers ever leaked. I don't think there's
No.
Okay, sorry. I was actually speaking of some things, of some originals.
I'm not the
The
kind of guy.
Iron Trap.
I don't know. Well, no, it's also like I was never savvy enough to leak them, so
Right.
that's why being a Luddite really helped.
you were trying to use them
Safe.
Couldn't log
truly,
in.
like-
I forgot my password.
We're gonna get this anticipation to a fever pitch. Right.
So how many
Yeah,
songs?
the Jerry Reed thing.
How many
so
songs is
good.
it? 4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah, 5 or 6 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. There's still, I have them saved on a few. So the 2-inch I found, I know where it is in San Francisco. But I have it all. I digitally backed them all.
It's
up
all
a
backed
long
up.
time
Okay.
ago.
All right.
Yeah.
Deleted.
I could just delete it all.
So at some point, you guys could do a free as a bird kind of thing and kind of.
Actually, I don't know if I should. Are you going to be editing this?
I can, if you want me to take this out.
No, there's something I'm not sure if I should mention it.
Do it.
Do it.
And don't
No, it's
edit.
not. It's not even. It's just I just don't know if he'd want to. No, because something from that session. It wasn't a Bungle song anyway. It was just this kind of Latin thing we did. Latin percussion. Me, Mike, and Willie did in this beautiful giant studio, brilliant studios. Anyway, he around I don't know when it was 2005 or something. I sent that to Mike. I was seeing if he wanted to have anything to do with any of these cover things, and he's found this on there. It's like, oh, I'd like to use that. He ended up using that on a
soundtrack.
On a soundtrack,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what the movie is, but yeah. So that something has come of it.
Okay.
That was a long time ago, but that also wasn't a Bungle. So that was his,
Right.
idea. We just did a little percussion trio thing.
Okay. But that was part of the original recordings. Those 2-inch.
It's part of that
Okay.
same session. Yeah.
Sometimes you need some
Just
stems
like-
and stems lying around. Just use them.
Yeah.
just like two
It's
days.
interesting. He remembered that though. That he remembered. Like, okay, I remember that. Latin
No, I don't
kind
know
of
if he
thing.
remembered if I may have, like, maybe he actually does still have a copy of all this. Maybe I remember just sending it to him, probably saying like, can we do something with these?
Right.
This is a long time, 20 years ago. And he said, no, I don't want to do anything. I don't know. I guess he didn't have any interest in the covers, but it's like,
Right.
oh, but this thing, he probably had, maybe he'd forgotten about it.
Okay.
And it is really good. It's just, I don't think there's any instruments. No, there's no melody or harmony, anything in there, just percussion.
Okay.
What was it intended for?
I don't know, because it was just Mike's
Right.
idea to use it for something. I don't know what the original intention was.
All right, there you go.
Good question. It's kind
I-
of weird that I actually don't know.
Because I thought it might have been one of the covers. Like, oh, this one's
No,
a bit
it
Latin
wasn't. It
and-
was the only thing that wasn't a cover. I think there was also an alternate version of another song, but
There you go.
maybe that's on a different reel. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that stuff. It's not a myth,
Right.
but I could very easily make it a myth by throwing it all away.
No, that's just. That's just a scrumptious idea to be able to think.
Yeah, I guess
okay,
the
this is
disappointing
stupid.
thing for me was I thought Trey did a scratch guitar on it, and
Right.
there's not one. Although there is a Simpty track, which is, do you know the sound of Simpty?
yeah.
I mean,
Standard
it was
motion
it
picture
was
time.
hell for Disco
Yeah.
Volante. It almost ruined that record. Yeah, and that was, you can hear that bleeding through on track 20 because it was on 24. I can't remember what was on 23 because I have them all numbered. in track 23, you can just faintly,
Yeah.
you can hear the Simpty bleed.
Okay, so because of the Simpty
So I might
bleed,
just release that.
the bonus track.
Hot shit straight to number one.
That's an R2D2 cover. So what instrument was ruined by that bleeding? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't. Nothing. It might have just been an empty track,
Okay.
and yeah, I don't actually remember because I remember finding it, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" It's like, "Oh, that's the Simpty."
Okay.
Love a bit of bleed.
Now,
We had a whole band bled into one of your bass tracks in Grumpy Library.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But it was fine.
It was on
fine.
Wasn't it on the 2-inch tape?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like I was soloing it when we were doing some of the editing or something. I was like, "What the?" It was like, like really
Sound
quietly.
Was it something that existed was already on the tune?
Yeah, it must have just been a little bit.
This is on on.
And I was
Ages
like,
to it.
"Fuck, we probably should," because I've worked in situations that are so anal with that kind of stuff. Like especially my old co-producer Gareth Thompson, who we mentioned before, used to play with Sex and Toast.
Gerald.
He
He
and
was
I
played in this band too.
Yeah. He and I used to sit there. He would just solo tracks and just be like, hold on. There's a tiny bit of headphone bleed in the piano. What are we going to do about it? And there's just like, it's okay for some types of things, but this just didn't seem to be a problem. It's like,
You
just
think
take
about-
it off solo mode. And it's
Yeah.
like, I don't hear
Think about all the great records that have like people talking in the studio,
Yeah.
noises, like weird crap going on. Like
It's hard to know
it
how
becomes
much of
part of the charm.
It's really hard to know
yeah.
how much of that to delete, though.
Right.
I'm working on something at the moment where I just keep wondering, like, am I ruining the spirit of this by chopping off the little bits of noise at the end of the like distortion guitar? Where it's like, you know, I really don't know. But then you should never A/B mixes. Bear always talks about this. The A/Bing of the mixes will destroy your fucking your whole faith in what you're doing. If you have a mix that you like did, and then you're like, "Oh, I'm going to do another one. I think I can do it better," and then you listen to the one before it.
Yeah. Which bringing it back to the album that we've been talking about earlier, the Umlaut album, like I said, Bear's demos, that was one of the challenges to get past. And they were good demos. Like,
Yeah.
he liked those demos so much, it was kind of hard.
You
for him.
captured the spirit and you couldn't recreate.
That's an even more
It's hard to
hazy
recreate.
So he had to get used to the band versions because he was like, and there was a bit of a tug of war there, like,
Yeah.
you know, between the two.
Right.
So
That's a big A and a big B there. Like you can really fall in love with demos, which is why a lot of the time demos shouldn't happen. Like you should go as soon as you come up with a song, you should just record it the way you want it to be.
Yep.
Straight away. And then there's no like, oh, but the demo. Because then there's no demo.
It's this, it's all the cliches, like the grass is greener kind of thing.
But you're kind of writing this music on your own. You're kind of doing the Stevie Wonder bit. You're doing the drums. You're doing everything kind of, this is the vision, right?
oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
blind. He's completely
Yeah.
blind.
Yeah.
But it's Angus makes a really good point because it's and you know I immediately was thinking of what I think it's the Josh Homme kind of desert sessions. He said they have that thing, so you're not doing this demo chasing thing constantly.
no, he said that he doesn't demo. It's just
Yeah,
like,
and but again, it's a great idea, right? It's like an aspirational thing, but it's
Right.
like in practice though, because
It's
you're
hard.
in your lab and you've got
As
a
soon as
long
you- as
weekend
soon as
and
you
you're
write
like
something, you want to put it down. You want to figure it out.
you know, and so it's a tricky thing. So to think ahead, you know, and go like, okay, I've got some ideas, but I'm just gonna play them really, you know, I'm not that well. So it's like, it's never gonna be this like, oh, I can't live up to the thing. I remember having that idea even with Bungle and expressing it, like going like, you know, we should record the songs really slapdash. So then when we play live, they're like, holy shit, the live version is amazing.
Bad records. The live versions are better.
Just kind of like,
So the live show's not a letdown.
don't be and then but the idea being like that their live shows were legendary, like songs never sounded so good, you know. And it's just like, and again, it's a
Or
great
they never
idea.
sounded good until they played
Yeah,
live.
Yeah.
it's a great idea, but it's like in practice, it's just like you'd have to be like a nth degree Zen master to kind of be able to actually pull that off, because you know, and with these digital workstations you have and whatever, you can be God with these things, and you can go, oh, that really unseemly breath I took before that vocal thing, I was just like, yeah, just get it right before the waveform, and
Right.
so it just sounds like it just came out of, you know, and
Turn it up, make it intentional.
Yes.
it's like, for example, like what's that Cranberry song, like, "La, la, la, I mean,
God, Zombie.
rest in peace, Zombie, whatever. She's like, and then like I zero in on it. I hear that song on the radio at work, and all I can hear is like somebody like pressing like their foot on like a dog toy, going like. Rest in peace, that beautiful person. You know,
You know the rapper Big Pun?
amazing voice, and I know she probably was doing that intentionally. Sorry, Angus, is that, and it's probably part of that type of singing. And there's a whole tradition, and people can just like Bear can fuck off. He doesn't know what he's talking about, and I'd be like, okay, you got me. But it was just something about the way she's doing that. I'm just going like, and in this day and age, we'd be like, yeah, we're just the engineers sitting there, just like we edit out all that stuff. So it was like,
that would sound so weird without the breaths.
Because just
In my head.
and all I can hear is like
that rapper Big Pun, he was so overweight that every time he takes a breath, he's like, "Oh, I'm not playing out as fuck a lot." There's this huge
snorty
death rattle. Like, I don't know if it's a snort. I kind of exaggerated it then, but if I just listen to that, it's just like, man, no wonder he died. Like,
poor guy.
He died of, probably being morbidly obese.
Congestive heart failure.
You know,
Rapping was the only cardio he got.
all those breaths were just like his only workout that he ever had.
Well, there's even at the end of that Led Zeppelin rock and roll, the clam that Jimmy Page does at the end. You know, it's just, but that's the character of the song.
And this is, this kind of reminds me of some stuff I was doing recently where I was like, you know, I even have this thing with saxophone where I'm like, I'm trying to make this thing sound good for way too long. Like, I don't even want to say the number of years I've been doing this, but I'm like, and I was it's sort of a joke. I've said this joke to my partner. I was going like, oh my God, I realized like, I'm not that good, and I'm not getting really better. And it's this whole thing where,
bullshit.
To me, it's just kind of funny thing. No, I appreciate that, but it's like it's to me, there's something very funny. There's like this kind of cosmic joke of like a guy like, every day I gotta go play my saxophone every day, and he's actually like the saxophone is winning. To me, that's just the funniest thing. It's just like it's like I'm gonna be all
down to you like,
That is so tortured.
and then I come out of the room after practicing or something, and everybody in the household has like, you know, earmuffs on or some kind of thing, and you're just like, hey, jeez, no. So it goes back to that thing of like, there's something really funny to me about that. Of like, it's not like, and it's not a despair thing of like, just like bury my head, you know, in my hands of like, of this despair of like, it's not getting any better or whatever. It's like, oh my God, why am I wasting my life doing this? But it's really funny to me that I just like, no, I gotta keep going and keep going, you know.
It's a motivator though.
Yeah,
it? I mean,
but so that was the point I was going to make. Like, okay, I don't know if I can still use this word, but a lot of my music is kind of retarded. You know, maybe you have to put a different word in there or something. I don't know, but it's like, and that's what's another word I can use. It's a little bit janky. It's kind of messed up, but. Look at me. I'm kind of messed up. I'm kind of janky. I'm kind of, you know, whatever, wonky. And I was thinking, I was having this moment. I was like, oh, that's a brilliant thought where my music should be as wonky and kind of effed up as I am on some level. It's just like, it's dishonest for me to try to, even though when I'm trying to make a thing sound nice and I'm in my little lab with my da-da-da, it's like I'm trying to make it sound as good as I can, even a saxophone thing or whatever, you know. And then usually Angus will come and go like, nah, the saxophone doesn't work, you know. And I'll be all right, and I'll try to like swallow that. I'll try to swallow that.
Muting that saxophone.
I'm like, I spent 2 days on it. He's like, nah, it doesn't work. And I'm like,
I was definitely the resident pain in the ass when it came to sort of taking these songs and really trying to make sure that they were rendered in the most high quality way in terms of the sonics of everything. And because I do feel like it's like some of the most profoundly good writing that Bear's ever done.
Duh.
So and also everyone played so well. It's just like, and we did it to tape, and you know, we actually stayed in this lovely studio for so long doing it. Like we definitely went to our own studios when, you know, obviously not to completely collapse the budget, which, you know, we don't have a fucking big label budget. It's been funded
You recorded
by
the tape?
Yeah, most of the basic tracks were
basic tracks are all live. Like the record, as you hear it, is pretty much the Danny and me's all live. Like that's one take, the whole thing. So
I was in there too sometimes, and Bear's sax was in there as well. But you know, but also we stayed there in that studio and tried to.
What do you mean by stayed? We'd go for drive.
We didn't lock it out or anything, but
record for 6 hours, then go get the car, lug everything out.
We
But
stayed there for
just to clarify, we didn't lock it.
we
out.
lived there, Danny.
We worked on
Don't lie
one
to
day,
the
and then we'd
people.
go back 3 weeks later, do another 6 hours.
Yeah.
So
But
it
we-
actually wasn't.
I mean, I was living there.
We were
I don't know
working-
about you.
like for Grumpy,
we
for
worked really well. Like
Yeah.
when we got
Right.
right, because we knew we had a time limit, which is a shitty way to have to work. But it sometimes works in your favor because
Yeah.
as long as you're not trying to rush through stuff.
And I think going forward,
But it was
and
great
Danny
having
makes
that place.
makes a good point. Like going forward, it would be a thing where like, yeah, we should just make it so we can get set up and have stuff just be set up, not have to, not have to strike things or whatever after a day or something. But it was like because of the way I was like funding this thing, and I was just like, it was kind of short sighted. I think like going forward, we'll do things where we'll have like be like a 3-day thing.
Did one of you have a plan of what we were going to? Because thinking back, there must have
Sort
been
of.
some kind of plan of what we're going to do every day.
There was some
because it couldn't have been
tracking
like,
sheets.
let's try to do it all today. Because
The
that
whole
was
Definitely some tracking sheets. on
Angus
the
would
overdub
have
days.
had a better.
But I mean-
I certainly didn't. I sort of leaned on Angus and Shane to kind of
But
go like, we
even
should do this thing like
The
this.
whole way the record kind of came together was like once Rama left and Danny kind of came in, it's like, yeah, it wasn't like this. We had this conversation where it was like, oh, let's go make a record. Like, it was just like we had these songs we had covered, and then it was just like, we just kind of,
Yeah, and it could have been
We did
also.
have a conversation.
It could have been also with Idge's the way the availability of his studio as well. We're just like he's like, well, I got this
that's
day
a very
here.
sought after. That's
That's what I mean. It wasn't like we had
studio.
like these songs are going to be a record. It was like we went in, let's
Yeah.
record.
But I
this,
think
and then
going
it kind of
forward,
went
we
from
definitely
there.
would want to.
Like,
We'd want to do. I'd want to do something more like. Because now I know that really kind of shit Danny as far as like we can't just kind of come in there and just like we're home, and then really just get settled in and then do as many overdubs as we can like at the place
as many versions of Lawman
with his
as we could.
equipment, instead of doing like stuff in a different location.
But I do say when I say stay, I just mean that we used a good studio for quite a large portion of it, where some other records had been a lot more like, all right, let's just go to our home studios for most of it, and it's going to sound how it's going to sound, and that's the point. But I feel like the point of this was to be a little bit more hi-fi.
Right.
And so like, even if that meant, even with home studios, like lugging a big fucking UA 6176 to my Clifton Hill space to do some vocals and...
is that a car?
Yeah, it's just a car, and we just Bear doesn't like to record vocals when he's not in a car because he's I don't know, it's something about you explain it.
Well, I don't know. I guess I have
Miles
got
per hour?
I have my way. Yeah. No, I'm a little very a lot. I've got a certain way of working, and sometimes I'm like I have to do stuff on my own. It makes me think of like, who is it, D'Angelo or something, has to like record his vocals in a darkened room under a blanket or something, kind of like he's
Under a blanket.
wasn't it?
I like the blanket.
I know the blanket. Now we're picturing
Just
something
imagine
ridiculous.
D'Angelo under a blanket, just like
With a hot chocolate under a blue.
Hiding. That's all they do.
Snoopy blanket.
You never
Have
know.
it your way.
He wants to do some peekaboo or something in there. No, I don't know if that was what Angus was referring to before that, but I think
sort of. I mean, we did like, I guess.
Angus did kick my ass and like go like, no, you're gonna do this vocal at the studio that I've got with the stuff.
A few songs I felt like really needed like a big present vocal, and I had access to this vocal chain from my friend Clive Young. Shout outs. He has helped me with, he definitely helped with a lot of the recording I was doing at the time, totally for free. So he's definitely really helped us out there. But we just like I think it was on Grumpy and Happy Now, we had a tube mic, and just, it was like we were at each other's throats, but it was worth it.
Angus almost
totally
made me
fucking
cry.
worth it.
No, but yeah, Angus has got very high standards, and I can kind of like.
I'm really annoying.
He doesn't just let this bullshit kind of come through,
Yeah.
or he does his damnedest to kind of like not just like. Yeah, so it was me, sort of like trying to just go like, I'm comfortable with a thing when I do it on my own, kind of thing, and then and so I don't. It goes back to this other theme, which is like I don't really work that well under pressure.
But Bear is a great singer, and he won't admit that to himself.
Oh, thanks.
That's the whole thing. I think is like, I rate like the way that you sing carries the shit out of those
Thanks.
songs.
Yeah, I'm not the most confident person,
I'd say in the trajectory of the band, like Bear started as a very reluctant singer, but from hearing the final mixes on this, it's like, he's really, really improved there, like massively. So
Thanks. Yeah,
and as a front man when he performs as well, because he used to be this like standing there with his eyes closed and shit. Now he's throwing the mic around, waving his arms around, giving sweets to the front row. No,
they're like, no, not that one. Why are you doing that?
He got to start giving sweets to the front row.
And they would go like the volume would go up and then it'd go down, then it'd go up and then it'd go down. They're like.
Sorry, Mr. McKinnon. This is a jazzercise class.
Yeah, they really follow like arm waving really well.
So I mean, that sort of pressure of having a recording window, I guess that would also be a bit of a motivator as well.
Yeah,
you've got 6 hours to kind of get it going.
Yeah.
How does the band react to that?
Not well. No, I don't know.
Oh, I'll speak. I love it. Like I said, I love the challenge. You know what I mean? Like getting it all in one take. It's like, man, it's like I really rise to those things. I enjoy that.
Right? But without feeling too intense. I mean, we knew it well enough. You guys definitely knew it already.
It definitely gives it a certain energy.
Some overdub sessions too. It's like, what are we gonna do? Like the end of Bumblebee shoot, or not the end, the whole thing. We would like had a bunch of stuff, time left at the end of a session. It's like, oh, what do we do? Maybe it needs some guitar, and maybe it needs some percussion. It was just me and Bear just like trying these things out for the first time, and they all just ended up working.
Yeah.
That doesn't always happen, but you know, we had a nice room and we're playing.
There's something about Sound Park, about Aegis Studio that happens.
It's got magic.
The Franklin's Mint thing, that happened song after song. It's like we just did the album like in a day. It felt, most of it, you know, and it's just, there's places like that where it just feels like it just sounds so good in the room. And, you know, he's got a great attitude and it's just everything's so easy there. It just never felt, I mean, I had personal stuff going on that was really difficult, but musically those sessions were always really, I don't know, they were really efficient.
So not to get too ahead of us, but this record took about 3 years to come together. Is that about right? Will the next one take as long?
No, absolutely not. It won't take that.
Okay.
I'm sort of determined that it would.
It's kind of more like a year, to be fair.
I was going to say about a year, yeah.
Because the most of it was started in 2022.
Yeah, and even the fact that it's only coming out now had a lot to do with like a record label, and then people like, we got to do it right. There's got to be a vinyl version of it, and it just worked out on some level that it was just like there was delays, and then like they need like the 6-month lead up and all this kind of stuff where it was just like, oh my God, yeah. And
it's been finished for quite a while.
Yeah, it's about a year I think we sat on it.
It's sort of been, it's a frustration of that. There's been a fair amount of frustration. Well, certainly from myself, as going like
threatening to like leak the album online. Like
I felt like I think I was talking to you before this whole thing about like
I think you still should. But wait a couple weeks.
Delete the Bungle tapes. Leak it early.
Yeah,
but like maybe 3 minutes before it comes out officially.
But really, you know, I think going forward, I do want to do a thing where it's like we were able to lock out like more days at Sound Park, and then just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like not overcooking it, not waiting too long, all the things. And I just feel like there's a real important part of the music is just having that energy and that kind of that momentum, and then you're capturing that space and time, and then it feels that much kind of more vital and kind of like
for something with maybe less layers and more just immediacy.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't regret taking a long time, well, as long as it did personally at all.
Right.
Yeah,
because I think there were things that happened at the very end that were like really important. And waiting for the right instrument.
How is this different than Sex on Toast?
Well, it's not me as the benevolent dictator. Dictators are coming up again. I don't know why. So, and actually, in a way, like it's been pointed out to me that I need to
calm the fuck down.
Well, just because I'm used to doing things and being the person that calls the shots, and then I'm like, oh, hang on, this is not my music, so I have to temper my ego a bit in that sense. So, I know the right way to do things. Well, you do for like some things,
right?
But yeah, definitely with Sex on Toast, especially like lately in the past 5 years, it's become mostly me doing every bit of arranging and orchestrating and writing. There was a period where there was more input from the others, but the more creative. Oh, well, just the last album was just very much my thing. So I was working on that concurrently. So maybe some of my control freak kind of nature bled into this album. Sorry.
No, it's all
Public
good.
apology.
It's he has a high standard and he's got great ideas, and he and I are both kind of big personalities in our own ways. So it's just like, so there's a bit of headbutting that goes on, and but yeah, but it's always for a good result, but I think going forward, it's like I'd want stuff to be more kind of like, on some level, I have this idea in my head that we have like the 3 different instruments that we're gonna have to be playing for any kind of song or idea, and then try to record it as live as possible, and just like just the sort of the spirit and the energy sort of side of things. It's just like whether it's an old Led Zeppelin album or whatever it might be. It's just like
Right.
or a lot of those Beatles records. It's just like there's some intangible kind of electricity to that thing
Right.
that
Well, this band for me feels more like a band.
Yeah.
Like, we sit and talk through how the songs are going to be
More
played.
democratic, I
A
guess.
little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's just more like, with my band, I just show up to rehearsal and hope that we don't have much rehearsal. I hope that people have learned the parts I've sent out and then kind of run the whole thing. And I actually don't enjoy
You're
it.
Kim Jong Angus.
Well, I'm not really doing that band much this year because I got to a point where I was really burnt out by doing that, and I just really need to not do
It's
it.
a lot on your shoulders.
Yeah, and it's like, and also financially, it's like, it's we've made money on some tours and stuff, but we were starting to make less money. I was starting to pay people more, and I just thought, you know what, I don't enjoy this. The payoff is not worth it for
Right.
now. So I think though that breeds a kind of a more session musician attitude. And I've been in that position too, where I've been the session musician. I'm like, oh, I'm just here, just doing this guy's fucking thing. But when I play with this band, it's more like, we're having a bit more fun creating together.
yeah
You're a bit of a gang.
Yeah. I mean, we're still like my band. We're all kind of friends, but or it got to a point where there were people that would come in that I'd never met and stuff. That and being on the road with people who are nice, but that's kind of weird sometimes. But even still, there are some old friends of mine that do the band, but even it's just different. It's like I feel like when people seem a little disinterested. And we've had people like that in this band. When people seem a little disinterested, it's a little bit like, especially if you're putting your whole like heart and soul on the line with some new music, and you're like, fuck, this guy could be thinking that I'm such a fucking loser right now. And I'm too self-conscious and insecure to not think that. And it's hard. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're thinking about Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, and again, it becomes like kind of an expensive hobby sometimes. It's like, I mean, on some level, it's like these songs on this album and this the way I always think like we should be touring. It'd be like the dream would be to be able to go and do some kind of short like run of shows, wherever it might be, Japan or Europe or even just regional Australia. And that's always the kind of the hope, because it's like, because we haven't really had a chance to get that momentum of like, wow, we're all nailing these things and we're kind of in a real lockstep kind of thing with doing that. And then so it's like the motivation side of it, like these guys have been like generous enough to kind of volunteer their time and then getting across town, like Shane lives like a road trip, or a day trip away from here, kind of thing. And he's even done that to come over here today. So it's like,
better make it worth your while, huh? Come here, baby.
But it's like I'm kind of realizing, maybe I'm finally on some levels kind of growing up and realizing like if I don't have to have a stranglehold on the creativity of this band, because these things will just kind of come out of thin air. And a lot of times I would make a point of having a rehearsal, and I literally wouldn't have to say anything. Like the rehearsal would take care of itself. Like the band would sort of coalesce and they'd hear things and then make suggestions, and then Angus would kind of maybe sometimes I think we should try this thing or go over this thing again. Like Danny had some great ideas for bringing novelty to like Grumpy Library and Happy Now, just insofar as like
the lyrics. We got to talk about those lyrics.
There's the middle verse of Grumpy Library is Danny's creation, and then But also just like phrasing wise, it's just like, no, it shouldn't just be this like, you know, 4s and 8s and 16s all the time, which is like, sometimes I get into this thing and it's like, oh yeah, I should have like the kind of like this left turn at the end of a phrase or some kind of thing. And then Danny was really a big part of like you know, like, no, it should like, in order to kind of create novelty or to make a song interesting is to have like, it's an odd length of a phrase or something, or whatever it might be, and you know, it's stuff that I wouldn't have thought to do. It's just like, no, here's the thing, and then, oh wow, they played through the thing, and it's just like, but it's just sort of like, I don't know why it's not quite grabbing us. And then Daniel's like, maybe it should have this kind of like,
oh God, any chance to get rid of one bar, or
one bar or one beat? No, it is true, because it does, it does throw and
it's the economy of
it throws you off a little bit. It throws you like, you're going like, I know it's going to do this thing in this really
little
boxy.
2/4 bars are fun too.
Yeah, and so
Bacharach-esque.
Is there part of the album, a moment, a phrase, part of a song that is going to be very difficult to play live?
It's all so easy.
Oh, I don't know. Of this,
We've played most of it, haven't we?
I think most of it was tracked live.
It's a little reduced. I guess like some of the songs like Bumblebee Shoes has a bit of an involved keyboard part that I'm a bit scared of. We have to call Olaf.
Yeah.
Remember Olaf? We do not hang out, he and I.
Olaf Scott,
Our old keyboard player.
Vinny's probably hard to play live because I don't ever want to play it. Although it always, by the time we play it, it's actually really fun to do. I just like
and there's a little
I just love to make these guys think
and
that I hate
on
that song.
on that point, there's like a little Easter egg on Vinny for the you know the listeners at home, kind of like on that very point of what Danny brought up of this kind of reluctance that he had, you know, like around the form of it or whatever it was we were sort of doing. And again, he was trying to kind of let us
It just
know
needed to be a 1-minute song, but these guys kept fighting that.
So yeah.
We chopped a bit of a rehearsal out of Danny saying that he would prefer it to be shorter.
But one of the challenges of it is like, say even on Desolë or STFU, it's like there's you know, like there's the changing of the sounds and then getting the parts and then playing like a melody and then like chords at the same time, because I'm not like a proper keyboardist. So there are some things where we're like, we're so kind of all hands on deck, where it's just like, and if we're not you know, making the changes or as far as like the sounds and and these kinds of things, it is very involved, like for 4 people, because it's like, because in a way we're still trying to do music that a 6-piece would play, but we're just with 4 people because we're that good. No,
but there's only 2 songs we haven't played live on the album, I think. But bar the secret track
one.
that's somehow a
Tarnished
public
Legacy.
track. Yeah.
And Bumblebee Shoes, yeah.
Is that going to be on the record?
what?
That final track?
What final track? I don't know what you're talking about.
I know this is the vinyl podcast, but in the days of CDs, you could hide a track.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted to do. But even like the last interview we did, it's like...
Wanted to do what?
Exactly.
The vinyl has, I don't know, people keep saying this government never wrong. Look at the back of the vinyl, it's not there.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe you imagined it.
Yeah.
Home slice.
Danny's not even heard it, so can you really know that it's there, right? If Danny's not heard it.
Well, I'm always asking questions like, is it on the vinyl? Because I don't know. Is it? I mean,
This is the second secret song that you were completely unaware of, I think.
No, I was very well aware of the secret
How
song.
dare you open that old boot? No. Yeah. It's
That was pretty much, that wouldn't, that had to happen. No, there was somebody that didn't know about it and they weren't happy. I was very happy about it. Oh yeah, no, I didn't know about it originally, but that's why. It was like, no, this is fucking going, yeah. We're taking this to the next level of secrecy.
it's a different kind, in a way.
That's another secret that maybe we sort of took on as a band, because we played that secret song with Umlaut, but I didn't tell anyone we were going to play it. So it was quite a big surprise when we played it at the show for a lot of people, a lot of our friends.
What was the eunuch song that was a bit of a train wreck?
Oh, well, we did that
God,
too.
yeah.
Sorry, eunuchs.
Yeah, sorry, eunuchs.
Right. So do you have the test presses of the vinyl? You've already...
You can't have one. No.
We don't. I don't think we do.
I was going to ask you that.
we
It's like
don't.
even I want to, I actually collect records. It's like, I want to get
That's
a
a
copy
good
of that.
question,
but
yeah,
we haven't been
no.
sent anything.
I don't
know
think
of,
that they exist yet.
It might not
we'd hear
even
something.
exist. That's a good point, yeah.
Where is it getting pressed? I don't know anything
Italy,
about
I
this
think.
part of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressing
It's
plants
on top of
over
the
in
Leaning Tower of
Are
Pisa.
there a lot of them?
Czech
in Europe?
Republic and places like that. So
I think isn't Overdrive has the only press in Italy? I could be talking at my ass there, but
I remember hearing
It's
something.
called Gene.
something like that. Yeah,
Ask Gene. Maybe
Gene
Gene
would
would
know,
know.
yeah.
well, people can order now. umlautbarmckinnon.bandcamp.com. There's an orange version, and all this is coming out end of July. So there should be test press somewhere.
Yeah.
One would think.
Do you want to be our manager? you can chase this stuff up for us.
I think Danny likes managing.
Thor, you got a great.
Not, well, I did. Not anymore.
Oh, can you manage my band Skinny Boys? It's a new band. Got to get skinny again, but anyway,
Skinny
we'll talk about
boy?
it later.
All right. Gentlemen, it's been fun.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Nate.
thanks.
Thanks for
Thank you
making the
Thank
time.
you.
And I'm really excited about the new. Again, I really enjoy the music that you create, and
Thank
even
you.
back to the Poverty album. That's 10 years ago now, right?
I try not to think in those kind of numbers.
11 years nearly.
something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
That sounds about right. But yeah, I'm one of these people that kind of gets the shits when people are like, 35 years ago today, or when you see these things
That's
on
what this
Facebook.
entire show is about.
I'm sorry. It's also that thing when people say like, if so and so was still alive, they'd be like, I'm going, oh my god, like stop with this shit. It's just like with and again, it's like I know it's good to have a sense of time, but I'm always just like to me it's that whole thing of when you start using the words like should, could, would. I'm like, yeah, I should have been Brad Pitt, and we should have a cure to cancer. It's like,
So he likes the Poverty album, Ben.
sorry,
I enjoy it.
I'm not, but I'm not.
I want more.
I'm not doing anniversary. I guess I'm not looking at anniversaries and going like, oh, is this many years ago? Because all it's gonna do is to these. Anyway, that's my,
No, but what I'm saying is
Yeah.
that was 10 years ago. This project took a few years. There's intent to do more.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
yeah,
That's nice.
I appreciate
Yeah, there will
that.
be.
yeah.
There's. I mean, you've got a lot of.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard much of it. He sent me a couple of things, and it's definitely like. Yeah,
Well,
I would think there'd be another
Yeah,
album.
I
pretty
actually
soon.
like the other day
Pretty
went
started.
through all the demos that Bear had sent me, and there's at least like 20 on my computer that no one's heard.
Whoa.
Like,
Yeah.
easily. Like,
I haven't
Yeah, when
heard
I
that
when I first went to Bear's house in Aspendale, I couldn't believe how much music he had just on mini disc.
lots.
Yeah, banking
Whoa.
banking up
Mini-disc.
the archives of ideas.
Idea after idea after
Yeah.
idea. I was like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
And they seem to be very compact too. 3-4 minutes.
Yeah.
I think the longest song on the album is just over 4 minutes. So, yeah.
There's an attention span problem. I mean, at some level, yeah.
It's a pop. It's a pop.
But I'm also just like I love like to like pop music or like the form of it on some level. It's like I love the idea of a condensed thing and just getting the best stuff out of it. Even having said that, like some of the best music we hear or we think of is sometimes like 5 minutes or more in length or whatever. And there's sometimes the ideas aren't. Yeah, it could be more developed and whatever else, but yeah, I do love the idea of just like the perfect pop thing. I was talking to my partner's kid last night about like God only knows, and he was talking about this thing, and I realized I gotta have this, and he's like 19 and he's a keyboardist and a singer and whatever, and he was going like, yeah, the really interesting thing about God only knows is that it doesn't really commit to any kind of one key center, and he's like it's always doing this kind of thing and it's sort of wiggling another thing, and I was like, man, I've never really like harmonically analyzed that song, because I was talking to somebody else about the idea of like if you learn like the chords and the melody of a song, it's like it takes away a little bit of the magic. And again, I think that's a flawed sort of.
I mean, I kind of see where you're coming from.
Yeah, and so I'm like, but I'm having said that, also, with the recent passing of Brian Wilson, it's like I feel like it's high time for me to kind of like really get into that thing and kind of figure it out. But I was saying that
I bet he didn't consult music theory that much while writing. I mean,
right,
who knows? Maybe he
right,
did,
but it really
A lot of
encapsulates.
LSD.
To me, I'm like God only knows sort of encapsulates, like it's sort of like the Smithsonian of Western harmony and pop music in one song, and you're just like it's just. You can't fault it. It's just like and it's modern with those weird little pump, all these weird little things that he's got in there, but it's still just like
It's staccato because of Don Randy. I heard
Okay.
a behind the scenes recording video of it, and he's like, "Shall we make that bit short?" That's what he said. And then
Well, as I was having
You got your own Don Randy here.
with this conversation with Cy last night, I was thinking like Angus actually would have a lot more to say about this, as well as like somebody like a Tim Smollins or something.
Not theoretically, but maybe
Yeah.
how it was recorded.
Yeah.
I'm not very good with theory, you know. Theory's for losers. You guys want to come get some pizza?
All right, gentlemen, thank you for making the trek out here. And again, congrats on the new record.
Thank you for making the trek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Serious trek.
stoked. I wanted to make this happen. I wanted to come down for a live show. And well, we'll have to
What's a live
figure
show?
that out.
Yeah, what's that?
And you guys are always welcome to stay at the
Thanks so much.
Casa de Vinyl Guide when you
awesome.
come
Really?
up to Sydney. Absolutely.
Ooh, you're gonna
dogs?
regret
You okay
that.
with
Gonna
dogs?
save a lot of money. Yeah.
We should probably
Absolutely.
set a goal of making sure. that
Yeah,
happens
we need to
before-
get to Sydney.
in the next couple
Absolutely.
months, really. Or, well,
We had
whenever
like what do
can
we
make
have
it.
like three kind of like
It's kinda
like
silly not to,
COVID
at least.
Sydney shows that got cancelled. in a row,
three
yeah.
Sydney shows or something.
It
Two
was
or
only
three.
2, but let's go with 20.
Let's say 10. Yeah, but it was really unceremonious. Kind of like we were ready to go up there, and you guys had like an insane rainstorm. I know we're supposed to stop, but it was like literally. And then the drummer got COVID, and when like the van was loaded, it was like not just a
The van's always loaded, and then it's over.
We didn't even have to tell
Don't
anybody.
load the
Don't
van.
load the van.
That's the fucking
and then it'll work.
just
That's
Buy
how
your
I
clothes
jinxed
at the
it. That's a
airport.
good point. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll get up there. We'll get up there at some point.
Please
So.
do. All right. Thank you.
All right.
And scene.
Thanks, Nate.
Thanks, man.
I gotta take a piss.
Thanks, Nate.
Good.
I really wanted to play with this the whole time, like Sam Sater does.
Oh, you
on
got the cool
Majority
like,
Report.
radio presenter mic.
Just fucking with this mic the whole time.
What do they call those things? The gimbals?
Yeah, it is gimbal. Yeah.
Gimbal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, this or is
No,
that
well,
something
it's kind of like that. It's like a movement, like you put a camera on a gimbal, and then if you move around, but the camera stays.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can run with it, and it holds it like a steady.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
What
Like a steady
video? What
cam.
music video